Hey, welcome back to Funniest People You've Never Heard of. I'm Peter. This is Todd.
Hey, everyone.
And today we have a very special surprise for you. Today on our episode, we have not one, but two guests.
Double the trouble, same price.
That's right. We have the stars of the upcoming film, Sisters.
We are very lucky to have Susie Yankou and Sarah Khasrovi. They wrote, directed, produced, star in this movie. Peter and I were lucky to catch it at a screening recently, and we were both like, we need to have these ladies on. And they're just as funny on screen as they are in person.
The film is about two best friends, sisters, if you will, whose friendship is put to the test when a family secret comes to light.
Yeah, and their film's actually going to be in the Austin Film Festival coming up in October. It's already won awards in other film festivals, and you're going to want to find a way to check it out.
Yeah, and though we love everyone that listens exclusively to the podcast, this is a good episode to watch because we're actually going to be cutting in a few scenes from the film.
Yeah, exactly. So find us on YouTube. Watch this episode on YouTube if you can, only because we want you to get the full effect of how great this film is. And awkward silences don't always translate perfectly onto a podcast.
Oh, speaking of awkward silences, last night I was at this dinner party, and dinner parties are so boring. This one was exceptionally boring. Nobody was talking. Everyone was quiet. You could hear the clink of people's forks and knives. So excruciating. So I had to liven things up, and luckily for me, I had a bottle of tequila especial.
Makes every party better.
I busted this out. We started pouring shots. It was going wild. It felt like The Great Gatsby meets Caligula. People were consensually making out with each other. It was wild. We even went skinny dipping in a pool, and there wasn't even a pool at that house. It was crazy. Todd, you should have been there, man.
Well, I would have been, but you invited me at 4 a.m. when you told me to bring over our extra bottles of tequila especial.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? You better leave these bottles with me.
Or just go to www.tequilaespecial.com and pick up some bottles for yourself for your next orgy.
Keep that tab open and keep this tab open, because coming up next, we got Susie and Sarah, stars of the film Sisters.
Enjoy. I don't know why I said enjoy. I'll cut that out.
Yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it or else. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Funniest People You Never Heard of. Oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? It's me, Peter, Todd in the outfield, and then Susie and Sarah, a.k.a. Esther and Lou from Sisters Film. How's it going, y'all?
Hi.
It's going so good. Yeah,
It's
excited
really
to be here.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I want to ask. Are you guys friends in real life?
It's everyone's favorite question. Everyone's asking.
Yeah, and the answer's we just met.
Yeah, the answer is I had nothing. No, we're friends. Yeah, we're really good friends.
We're friends.
They love knowing about it. I think that we're famously friends in that our movie is about our actual, in large part, literal friendship.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been some creative liberties taken, of course.
Sure.
If you watch it, it's not sort of perfectly factual.
Yeah.
It's a good defense mechanism.
No, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
factual,
Yeah,
but we are
there
friends.
are things in it that are real. Yeah, we're very good friends, and some might even say best. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. The jury's still out on that. Your film Sisters was just at the Inside Out Fest. How did that go?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was our world premiere. It was like a hometown showing. I'm from Toronto.
Cool.
So it was really interesting to have my whole extended family there.
Nice. Oh my gosh, fun.
And high school friends and stuff, and combine worlds.
Yeah, it was wild. It was so crazy to meet people from Susie's world. I just feel like occasionally there would be an uncle that would come up and be like, "Oh, the movie was so good," and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is an amazing stranger," and he had one. You know what I'm talking about? The long hair, 1 tooth.
I don't think that guy was related to me.
I think it was a lot.
Holding a big one over you.
Yeah, he was like, "I know Susie," and I was like, "How?"
He had
we're family.
one eye and one leg.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I loved this movie. I watching this movie. It was everything I want in a comedy. There's some deep moments. It's very funny. There's some feel like authentic improvised moments. Caught on film. It's real. It's fun. It's silly. You're not afraid to be silly and goofy.
It's like this. Your jeans are so cute.
Your jeans are so cute.
Oh my god, that's not Australian.
I think it's exactly Australian. It's so cute.
Soy.
Soy.
Soy. Soy.
Soar.
Soy.
Soar.
Soy.
Soar.
Or are you hearing what I'm hearing? Which is the same?
Different.
Soy. We're saying the same thing. It sounds soy similar, right?
Laurie doesn't.
And this movie was so good. That's my Australian accent.
Oh yeah, hey, that's
Sure, good. I don't want to spoil anything.
Wait.
The movie's already made, Peter. There's no more auditioning. The roles are all filled.
I could be the dad character if you're. I don't know if Peter
This is your
Benefaz
shot.
can. Yeah, I can.
Dude,
swap
I'm
one Peter for the
so
other.
sorry to derail, but can you try that again?
Oh yeah.
I just like don't want to move on this quickly. From
Yeah. Oh
hearing
yeah.
that.
For do you need me to do an Australian accent in the film?
Yeah, oh my god, you're getting it early enough.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
drinking
yeah.
a Guinness, and oh man,
Guinness.
I
That's
love
not even
Falcons.
the
Don't
right
know
beer,
about
Peter.
Australian
Damn it.
culture.
False.
Are you okay, dude?
Yeah.
This is my big Hollywood shot. Oh yeah, I'm a rock up with a Bailey's. I love
Oh my
drinking
God.
Bailey's out of a shoe.
No, that's
shit.
Australian.
Yeah,
for
it
you.
is.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's awesome.
That's definitely a good try.
Good.
It's definitely a good try.
I was just auditioning for all
Parts.
parts. Yeah.
Yeah. We're
But
gonna do
it's
it.
Yeah.
the film's finished.
It's done in a way that it is over. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, it's
But
over.
we could
and
add
done?
people in post.
We could do like a sequel of
Yeah.
where you play all the parts.
Yeah.
That could be
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you two decide to make this film, and it's a feature. It's not a short like most people would like. Oh, let me dip my toe and do a short. No, you're jumping in doing
It's
a
not a
cannonball.
TikTok video.
It's not
Yeah.
a TikTok video or dance. You're doing a feature. What was the process like convincing each other that it's right to do a feature and then just go for it?
It was psycho for sure.
Yeah, you go ahead.
It was nuts. No, I mean I had been dabbling with wanting to write a script to showcase our friendship for so long that she's telling the truth. We are real life best friends.
Yeah, of course.
And I think I knew that there was just something like very special about our chemistry, and I was like, how amazing. Like we're both performers, especially Sarah is like a brilliant comedian.
Yeah.
And like, what if we did this thing on screen? And it took a while to like find its final shape. It like, there were early versions, and then I kind of forgot about it for a few years. And then in the pandemic, like Sarah and I started talking about it again. And then we kind of settled on the sisters concept.
Yeah.
And having us be each other's kind of like chosen sisters, and then having like a real sister come interrupt that.
Yeah.
But I think that I just always knew it had to be a feature.
Yeah, there was never really convo about it being a short, which is like so insane for how like that we made it on $2. Like you would think like when we would tell people our micro budget, they'd be like, oh my God, so it's 8 minutes. And we'd like, it's actually gonna go ahead and be 80.
88.
Yeah. So at 80. Yeah. But I don't think we ever like between us were like, let's make a short. It was always like,
No.
it's gonna be a movie.
That is so gangster. Like
Oh my God.
that it takes so much guts. And you're just like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. We're gonna make the full thing.
Yeah, it also takes psychosis, I think, a little bit. I think your brain has to be a little broken, just a little bit like, something's off with them. You know? But I think when you have two people kind of feeding each other's like broken minds, like you just do the thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like, I think it's easy because like at the start, both people's energies are at like 200. It's like, fuck yeah, we're gonna make a movie.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then you hit a bump in the road, and then hopefully, ideally, not both people drop down to 0% at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's actually
Because
so
it's like,
true.
then if something happens and I'm like, fuck man, we're not gonna do this, you're like, no, I got it, and
You're
vice
so
versa.
right. Yeah, it was like a seesaw. Like when one person was like, let's jump, the other one was like, I'll save you. Kind of thing. Yeah, that's so real.
That's so sweet. And like, what was the most challenging day on set for you guys?
I mean, it's the same answer, but you should
Yeah.
say it.
There
I'm
was
not strong enough.
There was a day. So we shot in the middle of like a big COVID surge. This was a few years ago when
Wow.
like it was still there were like the surges were really like gnarly. And all of our producers, like one of our lead actors had COVID, and
Really?
so we were getting by with like basically no crew, like no producers on set. It was just like. And everyone's already wearing so many different hats at once, even if all parties are on set who are supposed to be on set. And then when
Yeah.
you take away like the two producers who, besides us, it's like it was just like a devastating day to try to be creative under those circumstances.
It was so hard. And like, yeah, had so many like shoots, things we were trying to shoot get shut down. But it did fuel, there is without giving too much of the film away, there is a fight scene, like a climactic like moment of reckoning. And it, involves having a very heightened emotions and stuff. And it was that day. So it like actually did serve.
Wow.
That was the day, right?
That was the day.
That was the day we shot that crazy ass.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah, it was literally like
worth it.
right before it started. We were like, well, this part's good at least. I'm so mad.
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, it fueled some authenticity there.
Yeah, that can be so frustrating. I mean, it's hard making a movie. It's hard making a feature. And it's also, you're getting every obstacle thrown at you as well. But that helped fuel your performance on camera.
Yeah, I would say so. On that day for sure. I mean, I think like for the most part, like we are like the shitheads that we are on screen. And so like, it's just easy banter. But that was like a moment of like truth that we had to, like, it wasn't a fun scene. It was like a very honest scene. And so it was good that we were hurt that day by the day at large.
Yeah, Todd from the outfield.
As someone who went to film school, and follow me. Now I'm in someone's basement producing a podcast.
That's literally the perfect film school trajectory.
It's very easy to give up on dreams, whether they're specific or global. So it's what made you guys keep going through COVID, through having to stretch a dollar really, really far. If someone is a rising filmmaker, what's some advice you can give to them?
It's a really good question. There was honestly a moment, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember there was a time, I think it was that gnarly day, that I just pulled you aside and I was like, I don't know that I want to do this with my life. Like, I actually don't know that I want to do film. I don't know that I want to act. I don't ever know that I want to star in something again. I don't know that I want to do this. And you were like, I don't know that I do either. Like, it was so crazy. Like,
I remember.
We have never seen an alternate paths for ourselves, right? Like, it's always been like, we're going to do this. Like, whether together, like, it just in our own lives. Susie was in this like very prestigious, sorry to plug it, screenwriting program at USC that like literally 18 people get into every year. And like,
who's bragging now?
It's really me for her. It's just like, I feel like your trajectory was always to write at least and like do more. And same, like, I don't know that I could have ever eschewed performing. But that day I was like, real estate sounds amazing. Like actually
corporate money, baby.
Truly, we were literally like, we could get our licenses. And then it like, we had better days throughout shooting and that went away. But like, there were definitely moments where you start to be like, what the frick are we doing? Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. But it's like for like the love, I think for me at least, for this in the case of our movie, it was like just needing to tell this story and like to like honor what we set out to, like the mission we set out to accomplish by like creating this narrative. Like it was less about like I'm so excited every moment, and it was more about like we said we're gonna do this, so we're like we gotta do this.
Yes.
And then it like gets better in the process when you have better days. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that the like sick part about being an indie filmmaker, which you definitely can attest to too, is like is it's not just about the craft, even though that has to be your North Star of like, let's tell a good story and like, it's you have to be a salesperson, and that starts from day one when you're putting the project together, because even if you're not selling a product necessarily early on, you're selling yourself when no one else is attached, and you are not a A-list talent, and it's just you and these two little girls trying to be like, can you sign up? Yeah. And that's how every conversation started.
Yeah, we'd be like, we're just little girls, but
please help. Yeah.
Remember those early day conversations with like indie producers where we would be like, we would get on those Zooms and be like, this is our idea. And they'd be like, we'll get back to you. And then nobody would ever get back to us. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that we should be.
Listen, Wes Anderson, we're calling you out, bud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Wes was really interested in it. He wasn't.
Wes.
I think there has to be like unshakability to make an indie film at all, especially a feature on like very little money. Like you have to just be like, I'm gonna fucking find a way.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay if you are shaken a few days, because we were obviously, but I think to keep coming back to like, well, let's not think about this like from an ego thing of like, do I look dumb? Am I doing a bad job? Like it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole. But just to be like, how do I make this story good? Like, where's the gap between where it is right now, which like, rough cuts early cuts were really rough.
Susie, I remember, sent me the rough cut, and I was like, dude, we can't show anyone this. Like, this has to go in the trash, and we have to throw the trash into the sea. Like, it is so embarrassing. And you had listened to some podcast, I think, about a different film that, like, was motivating you, where they were like, our rough cut was so scary too, right? And you were like, just believe. Like,
yeah, there's some quote, I think it's Coppola or Scorsese, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But like one of them said, if your rough cut doesn't make you violently ill, you're doing something wrong.
Okay,
Wow.
And that was all I had to hold on to. I was like, I'm so sick, it's keeping me up at night. Like we were like having mental breakdowns together, being like, how do we get this from where it is now to like where we believe it can be? Dude.
Yeah.
And it was brutal.
And and it came out fantastic and so funny. There's so many laugh out loud moments and like so many like, really poignant like family moments that are fun. Well, what was it like? What was the vibe generally on set? Because I know some of the people that were in this cast, Peter Benefaz, Anna Garcia, Jasmine, a couple of those people I'd worked with myself, seemed like a good, fun cast.
So good,
what was the vibe on set? And, was there room to improvise, especially, with you penning the script?
Yeah, so I really have to commend Sarah on a lot. Basically any person who's so fucking funny in this movie, which is very many people, came through her just being so plugged into the comedy world. She's been in the UCB scene forever, and just like obviously she's so talented, and like having access to like the next wave of like the LA comedy scene was like, I don't know, as a director was like gold. It made my job so much easier, and like watching Sarah, like being able to like, obviously on camera we're in a lot of scenes together, and playing with her was great, but like watching her play with some of those comedians too, especially like her family scenes, like I mean Peter plays her dad, like those are just some of the best scenes in the movie. And I yes, there was a lot of improv.
Okay, well, actually, I've been meaning to tell you for a very long time, I want to do comedy. What's happening?
No. What do you want? What do you mean you want to do comedy? What do you mean you want to do comedy? Huh?
Why are you doing this to your father?
Did you want to be a clown? You want to be a clown in the little circus?
I thought you guys wanted me to find something I'm good at. I don't get it.
Yes, we're talking about business or law
Or architecture?
or engineering.
I'm good at comedy, though. I'm funny.
Who told you that you're good at it?
A lot of people.
People are freaking stupid. It's okay. It's okay. Go over to Camera. It's okay. Listen to. Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing to your mother. Oh my God, she's having a panic attack. Sit down, my dear. Azizam, sit down. Breathe.
And like it was a real blessing as a director to reach the end of the scripted scene and then just like not call cut for another 30 seconds and see what happens. And like my DP got mad at me. We were always short on time. He was like, you gotta call cut. And I was like, actually, you don't. And God bless our DP. He literally rocks. So that was no shade.
Sure.
But like he wasn't the only one who was like, Suze, can you just, and I would be like, well, no, like I have to let them have fun. Like, and basically every scene got like a new button from whatever improvising happened with Sarah and those amazing comedians. So.
But I think that's a testament to you as a director too, right? Like I think sometimes like directors can get, influence to just like clip along, especially when you like, again, have no money and you can get 2 angles and you have to move on. Like there was so much pressure to move, and you always like honored performance. You always honored authenticity. You always gave us that like canvas to play. And I think that like brings out the best improv, that brings out the freedom to just like be as funny as possible. So
there are so many obstacles that get in the way of that. One being the transformation of this idea from idea to page to shoot to edit to final edit changes, but also, you wearing the director hat and the writer hat, like, oh, well, this isn't how I wrote it. You could have been really strict about that. And then you get a film that's a little too tight and, not as fun and free as this film comes across. And it's like, was that a conscious thought, or you were, as first time filmmakers would just like, we're just going to do what feels right?
I think I definitely always have liked letting actors make the words their own. A big influence was growing up, being a younger millennial. It's like, yes, we came up in the Judd Apatow era where everything was like laugh out loud, super punchy, super funny, which obviously was a huge influence on me. I don't want to speak for you, but I assume both of us. But like, also it was a time where like it was kind of like peak indie filmmaking, where it was very like mumblecore, like Joe Swanberg, the Duplass brothers, which like is like not my only influence, obviously. Like I wanted something with more broad appeal and a little more structure than that, but I always was like really drawn to the naturalism of that and how it really felt like you were dropped into those worlds, and those filmmakers really like were very improv heavy, even if they weren't making a straight comedy. So I wanted to like apply that to something that had tighter comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
But I also do need to say, I mean, for anyone who watches the film, which hopefully is literally every single person who listens to this podcast.
Everyone on the planet.
Thank you. But also there are so many laugh out loud moments, as you've referenced in the film. And I will say, like, honestly, we have to do a drinking game about it one day. A lot of them are her written words. Like,
Great.
like Aunt Jenny, who, again, I'm
Yeah.
not going to get too into the weeds of like all the characters in the story, but like, it's like a very funny comic relief character played by the inimitable Pam Murphy, who's so funny, who
Yes.
I'm sure
Yes.
Yeah.
Love Pam
so
Murphy. Yeah.
fucking
Unreal.
every single word Susie wrote. Like those, I mean, Pam brought
No
it to life
kidding.
incredibly, but like Susie's just a really good joke writer. And so like there's just a lot of, while we do have this amazing cast, and absolutely, yes, we improvised some great moments and we added some new buttons, like a lot of the shit you're like laughing out loud at was on the page.
Yes. I laughed so hard at
true.
Jonestown and then microdosing.
Yeah, that's all Susie.
So fun.
As you'll see on page 2, George specifies that Jenny will receive 25% of the estates as long as she does not use them on any recreational drugs. Yes, Jenny.
Does that include non-medical marijuana?
Yes, that is categorically the most recreational drug.
Noted.
And on the following page, yes, Jenny.
Does macrodosing mushrooms count as recreational?
Do you mean microdosing?
I do not.
Susie, question for you. Was it always your plan to star in it as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good for you.
Yeah, I think like in the early stages when the script was done and I was trying to send it around and I didn't know if we were going to make it like ourselves super scrappy or if we were going to try to get a production company attached and make it on a bigger scale. Some conversations that I'd had with bigger companies were like, yeah, we love your script, but like you and your friend can't be in it.
It was always that. It was like, we love it for literally the Queen of England and her best friend, like the most famous people on earth.
Yeah, and but I think I always knew, yes, that after, especially after those conversations when I was really faced with like, do I kind of give this away a little bit and let it be about like someone else's friendship, or do I keep it for both of us? It was never going to be just me or just Sarah. It was like, okay, if we're going to like do this and put ourselves in this, like it's got to be both of us. And so, yes, once I realized like I actually didn't care about like sort of pandering to like the gatekeepers who are promising, XYZ kind of future for the film, I was like, well, it's me and it's her, you know? So it's me too. Yeah.
I think there's also this thing of like, we all know that stuff can get lost in development hell, right? Yeah. And like, okay, someone buys your script and then it just like dies somewhere, dies in some like dark room and never to see the light of day. And so like that's another thing, right? Like we consider beyond the like taking us out of it is also like, what if it just never got made? I think it's like very likely that it could have never gotten made.
Yeah.
And that's like what I would say to indie filmmakers who like have the grit and the hustle to fundraise and go through the thing of like, if you were just like addicted to your thing getting made more than you are to like making money from it or selling it or whatever, you have to almost do it yourself at the beginning.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Sarah, question for you. So there's that scene where you come out to your parents as a comedian.
Yeah.
And you're a stand-up yourself. What's the stand-up life been like in Los Angeles? And did you have a conversation like that with your family at any point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a push and pull constantly. I play across stand-up, sketch. I've been on, UCB house teams. Comedy's been a part of my life for many, many years. But, I come from an immigrant family, right? Like, at the end of the day, I think, like, anyone who comes from an immigrant family, and there's a joke in the film of, like, me constantly not trying to identify as somebody who's a child of immigrants, but, like, it's sadly, like, deeply entrenched in my DNA. It's like, there is a thing of, like, a push and pull of, like, the guilt of, you come from a family that, like, came here with the hopes of, like, you achieving all this stuff and having this, like, certain type of life and, like, really, at least like for my culture, it's medicine is what it is. It's like you're a doctor and you did it.
Oh, I see.
You're a lawyer and you're good enough. You're an engineer and you can stay in the family. And like those are your options, you know? So certainly like comedy is like not on that list, right? So I have struggled for sure with the push and pull of like how to balance my identity as a child of immigrants who wants to, you know, do right by like my culture, but also like follow my own heart and my passion and like pursue comedy. I think it's something that's always been like a difficult crossroads for me. So no, I didn't have like an actual moment in my life where I sat my parents down. I'm like, I have to tell you about me as a comedian.
Oh my God, dude! In this movie, you do an SNL audition tape, and it's so the character you do is so funny.
Thank you. Dude.
The character
That's
you
one
do
of her
is
real characters. That was not me.
That's my character, yeah.
That was all her.
It's so funny.
Hi, I'm Pam Feathers with Bayside Realty, and this is my favorite home I'm currently listing. What with the I am so sorry, but a ghost has just entered me. Yes, why are you looking at me like that?
Because this is weird.
You own a chain of dog hotels. You're weird.
Why don't you just tell your parents you're a comedian?
Why don't you just tell your parents you lost your virginity in the backseat of their Porsche and told them the cum stain was vanilla ice cream?
Okay, rolling.
Anyways, if you follow me around back to the holy hell, the ghost is inside me in a way he has never been before.
Sarah, have you had to perform in front of your family or?
Yeah.
Oh, what was
I
their?
don't like it. No, I'm just joking.
What did they say afterwards? Because
No.
I did a show for my grandma once, and she goes, "Oh, you looked really comfortable up there," and I was just like,
That's all, huh?
I was like,
It's like that's her trying.
That's kind of sweet.
I know she was trying. It was very sweet.
Find
but
something nice to say. You look comfortable.
Yeah, your pants.
To be fair, he was roasting her the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
sure. What was it? What was it like? You know, afterwards.
I tend to not do it too much, to be honest. There's not a lot of invitations happening. I think it's oftentimes it's never cruel or anything. It's just like, oh, that's great, and then. But medical school is also good. Like, I'll like change a Band-Aid for someone in my family still now, and it'll be like, oh, you would have been such a good doctor. And I'm like, it's famously too late, actually. Like, we have to let it go. So, you know, we're working on being okay.
Yeah. You two made this indie film, on a short, small budget, like you said. What did it take to motivate the crew and the cast to kind of jump on board and have a positive attitude? Because, you need everyone focused because there's not a lot of time. As you were saying, your DP and, I imagine your first AD was trying to keep you on schedule.
Didn't have one.
Didn't have a first AD. That's a good way to
exist.
avoid arguments. Yes, exactly.
Didn't have much. Is the theme of the film. We have one of our producers who sort of sometimes act as a stand-in AD when we were both in the scene. She's great. I was like coming from a medical appointment to set one day, and I was just like kind of in like a very dejected place, and I was like just arriving with like not the right mood, and we were filming some funny stuff that day, and I was like really like distressed, and she could tell. And I was pulling up and I was getting out of the car, and she came out there. She's like, hey, how are you doing? And, trying to be so tender and sweet and care about me while also being like, we have to move. Yeah. And there was one point where she looked at me, and I just like, it's like burned in my mind. I think about it every 2 days, where I was just like, oh, I'm having such a really hard time, really hard day and whatever. And she wanted to like leave space for me, but she was like, look, SK, like I'm so sorry that it's been so hard. I just need you to do me a quick favor, which is to bury the darkness and let the clown come out. And I was like, fuck yeah, okay.
Wow,
today.
that's great advice.
And it's like, I carried that with me every day. I was like, bury the darkness, let the clown come out. Bury the darkness, let the clown come out.
You like need that to get through the gnarly days.
Truly.
Like, you have to like actually compartmentalize to a psychotic degree to be like, okay, there's XYZ stresses, we are out of money and we're out of time. Yeah. But I still have to go and be really funny or really vulnerable. Like there's like, you have to bury the darkness and
let the clown come out.
It's okay. 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 A loose wrist.
Ah. That feels good, right? I'll take one. Ow! Kinda hurts. Okay.
Now you're heading to Austin Film Festival, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna be showing it there. And is that the American premiere?
Yes, that's our U.S. premiere. It's going to be the last week of October.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Where can people find information about the film?
Yeah, we have a website called sistersfilm2024.com.
Great.
Made it on Squarespace, baby.
Perfect. Oh, nice.
But yeah, we have a lot of like shit coming up after the Austin screening, and then after the festival run kind of wraps up, we're gonna be hosting some of our own screenings in a few different American cities. So please follow our mailing list.
Great. And is that available
website?
on the website?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sistersfilm2024.com.
Yeah, baby.
What happens next after that's concluded?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like Susie said, we want to host our own screenings, and obviously, like, the dream is that this film becomes available for people to see in different formats, whether that's like in theater, like in certain theaters, and, through streaming, whatever. I mean, the goal for like anyone's film ultimately is to get it in front of the most eyeballs as possible, right? And like share the story with as many people from as many walks of life as you can. So I think that's like the macro goal, and how that comes to life is yet to be determined.
What we like to do to end every episode is, this is the funniest people you never heard of. Now everyone's heard of you. Who should we have as a guest on this show?
Oh, that's so cool. I need like an hour to think about this.
I will say I would have said Sarah if she wasn't here, but because she is here. No, truly. I mean, I'm obsessed with you, dude. I can't believe it. I tell everyone she's the next Kate McKinnon, and then I would say Jasmine Ellis, actually, who's in this movie, who plays Sarah's very, very, very funny and pretty mean cousin.
Sure.
Yes, very funny.
She rocks.
Okay, funniest people you've never heard of. Let me rattle off some names. Obviously, like Nabil Muscatwala is incredibly funny. He plays Omid. He's the one
Oh, yeah, the other doctor.
Yeah, the other doctor. Yeah, he's incredible. Jeremy Colhane, not in our film, but very, very, very funny.
Oh, I like him. I like Jeremy.
Super talented guy. He's always working on stuff. I mean, I could like really do this for like 200
Hey, all
years.
right. Well, you know what?
You'll have to come back next week.
We have to come back next time. Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for coming, Sarah, Susie.
Thank
I
you.
cannot wait to see what you guys do next.
Thank you
and
so much.
if you're in Austin around the end of October, put on a Halloween costume, come out to the screening, and the website is sistersfilm2024.com.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks
for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bring the Guinness.
Oh, like Shrek.
You know what you need to learn is Vegemite. That's like the one.
Vegemite?
Vegemite.
Thanks for listening. See you
Bye.
later.
See ya.
Bye. Funniest People You've Never Heard Of is a production of Toby or Not Toby Productions. Executive producer Todd Fields, producer and host Peter Murphy. Studio space provided by Third Wheel. Theme song written and performed by Justin Fields. Brought to you by Tequila Especial. Don't forget to like and subscribe.